Greetings, everybody. Greetings, internet world, opera lovers, poetry lovers. What's happening in? This is Nick George coming to you guys. I am the guy from the listening, as you guys probably already know. Um, you might hear my co-stars in the background eating dinner, but pay them no mind because we are here to celebrate this amazing project that was born during probably one of the most trifling years in human history. All right. Now we have a plan, but we all know what happens with plans, right? Especially when you try to assemble the best things together. Sometimes life is like, get that out of here. But we're going to make it happen. We're going to rock because we have been excited about this project for the past year. The project I'm talking about, if you guys don't know, is Life These Days. This was an amazing collaboration, fusion, immersion, melding, just, yeah, bringing the minds together because if you don't know anything about the listening, we believe that the people's voices need to be heard. We believe that, especially with young people, they can be trifling. Let's just be honest. But they also have a lot of passion and a lot of eyes watching the world that's going on around them. So, together with Opera on the James, we said, hey, let's make this happen. This was an amazing project, and we're going to get into talking about the creativity behind it, what the actual process was in preparing for it. We weren't able to get everybody, but we do have a lot of amazing folks here. So once again, if you haven't seen these 3 videos yet, go directly to the Life These Days Facebook page. There you'll be able to see all of the videos. The production that went into it is amazing. The artists, the composers were outstanding. And these aren't just like people who are like hobbying with this every now and then. Like these are legit world traveling, world renowned. Like I don't know how it happened, if I'm completely honest. I don't know how it happened, but it did. And we're honored and blessed to be able to bring it to you guys right now. So we don't want to waste your time. We know you guys are probably getting dinner ready. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm going to first bring on the original organizers of this project. I'm glad to introduce you guys to Mr. Marco Nestico and Rox Cruz. Marco, did I say your name right?
You did, almost.
Almost? Okay.
No, that's
I'm sorry about that.
yeah, there you go.
These people, all right. I'm learning. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you? It's good to see you. It's good to see you all. It's really great to see your face.
Yeah. Yes. And of course, everyone, the lovely Rox Cruz. How are you doing, madam?
Hello. I'm sitting here trying to share this to my Facebook page, so my bad. I'm good. I'm happy to see
It's all
Marco's
good.
face. And I'm excited to see everybody else's face pop up in here. So
Yeah. I can't believe that.
Yeah, this is a. Yeah, go ahead. Talk.
Hey,
I
but
don't need to do a lot of talking tonight.
I'm so looking forward to seeing everyone. Essentially, I never really had the chance and the privilege to get everyone at least on the same screen. I mean, I would love to see everyone in person, but at least to see everyone involved. That's really wonderful. What a wonderful idea. So thanks, Nick. Really.
Oh, hey, listen, this could not have been possible without you guys. I like we met, and it was such a fluke thing because it was at a gathering at Riverview's Art Space, right? It was at Riverview's Art Space, and it was the kind of thing where I knew that it would be a good idea to go, but I would have liked to be home playing Spider-Man. So me and my wife came through, and we ended up having a great time. You know, we ended up having a great time. But that's where I first met you, Marco.
Yeah.
That's where both me and Rox first met you, and I feel like that was a really good night. Just being able to talk and engage each other, and kind of in celebration of music and stuff. And it was a fun time
It was.
for me at least.
It was a great time. I was actually very excited to have met you guys. I was really new in town, and I think I knew like 2 people in the room and barely knew them. And I always felt immediately welcome there in Lynchburg by everyone, but I didn't know anyone. And then I think I don't know how the Rocks talked to me or something because she's like
I talk to everybody. So I
Yeah.
was like, who's this guy?
Yeah,
I don't know him.
Who's this weird Italian guy here? And we were so and I was also nervous about, because there were news about the pandemic. It was just starting. Remember, it was like this thing, and we were all wondering what was going to happen. And we were all, and me being like involved with the opera, we were wondering, are we going to have to shut down? I mean, it was also already, quite
The
scary.
rumblings.
And it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Rox talked to me, and it was like the description of what she was doing and your organization. I was like super excited about the fact that it was in town. And then she introduced me to you, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think the first thing you asked me was like, so what are you reading now? I was like, oh, okay. let me think, what am I reading? And it was great. It was really cool.
Yeah. I'm glad that we were able to link together. I'm glad that art is what brought us together.
Yeah.
Let's just dive into some of these questions, because we got a lot that we want to show the people and talk to the people about. So first, life these days, right? Where did that idea come from? Like, how did that idea of a project come about?
Well, I have to give credit to a dear friend who's a singer. Her name is Tess Altiveros, and one of our composers here knows her very well because they work together in opera. And I was walking on the Point of Honor trail during the pandemic. Everything was shut down. We didn't know what to do, and it was quite scary, I have to say. And at some point, I was talking to her on the phone, and she reminded me that a good friend of hers had composed songs on poetry written by kids. And I thought, like, maybe we should do something like that here. I mean, that would be a great idea, and we don't have to do it in person, at least not immediately. And I immediately thought of the listening and Rox. I was like, but I know somebody who actually works with poetry and kids, which was like the ideal organization in town. And I talked to Rox, and Rox talked to Nick. But Nick, where's Nick?
He's coming back. He can see us.
I'm right here. I can see you.
I got scared.
I'm the IT guy tonight. I'm the IT guy tonight.
And so that's basically the idea was, like, during this walk, and I thought it was a very good way to keep the arts going, to keep our art form, which is music with words. This is what it is, like opera and songs. It's a conjunction of music and words, and the voice, and the human voice, and poetry. I mean, poetry, there's no better way to describe words, really, with art. And so I thought, like, this is great. And thankfully, you guys were open to the idea. And then with Rox, we went on and we started planning it. And I'm so grateful for Rox, I have to say. I am.
Oh, we miss you.
She's our heavy hitter. She's our heavy hitter. Rox, how did you feel about the whole project coming together the way it did?
I was stoked, and I think Marco's not giving himself enough credit as far as like how long this was in the works, because even when we met the first time, we were already talking about, like, how do we collaborate? How do we put kids in opera locally? Like, how do we figure this out to make it interesting to our scholars who are mainly interested in hip hop and rap and poetry? And I remember one of the questions when Marco and Nick and I were first talking was like, hey, so Marco, what do you feel about hip opera? And he was like, what is that? And we were like, Carmen, Beyonce, like, it's a thing. People do this. And I think that would be like a cool collab for us. And so then when he came to us and was like, I think we should do this, like, that was already in my head of like, he wants to do hip opera now. Like, let's do it.
I think that's
like, totally on board.
Yeah, and I there's no better way to get people involved in an art form than to have them participate directly, I think, because that's the thing. I mean, you can go to people and tell them, oh, look at us, we do this and it's great. But and they have the right to really say, is it though? I mean, what is it? I mean, why should I be interested in this thing? And to actually ask people to participate, to create, to be part of the creation of the art form, I think that is the best way to do it. And so there you go. That's how we started.
So it's funny you say that about opera because I found, and we can see how our young poets feel about this when we bring them up, but a lot of people feel that way about poetry too. Like they get like the first couple lines of Shakespeare or something, they're like, poetry, really? You sure? And not until you actually engage in it and like actually spend some time there, do you really get to feel and like understand the impact of it. So it seems like there was some compatibility there. One more question, just before we switch over to our composers. How did you guys know, Marco and Rox, how did you guys know that this collaboration would be good? Because a lot of things seem like a great idea, right? Peanut butter and jelly makes sense. Peanut butter and, I don't know, maple syrup. Not everybody. I like it personally. But, you don't always know until you get together and break some eggs, to borrow that. So when did you guys know that the listening and Opera on the James would be a good match for a project like this? Let me start with Rox this time.
A totally different answer than me on this. To me, it's like a trust thing. I knew Marco well enough to know that if he said, I have these amazing composers that I think would work really well with your scholars, that meant he really did know amazing composers. And I think it took a lot of trust on his end too, for me to be able to say, I can handpick scholars who I know are going to be interested in this and who are going to want to participate in this and who are really going to grow through this and put the effort in to collaborate. Because also part of it was teaching the scholars, like, this is a collaboration. This isn't you owning it or the composer owning it. This is you guys making this piece of art together, versus like this is one or the other. And so it really took good faith on both of our ends that, like, when you say that you have these people, that you really do mean that you have these people. And I knew good and well that our scholars were absolutely up to the challenge of this. It was just a matter of really narrowing it down and going, like, who do I think is going to be serious about this during a pandemic when they could just be doing whatever they want to be doing and playing video games all day.
Yeah, that compatibility and trust is key. What about you, Marco?
Well, really expanding on what Roxy was saying is that she called it trust, and I think it's a very good way to call it. The human connection was very clear, as far as I'm concerned, with you guys, with your organization, and personally the people, right? So I trusted that was something that could work, and also I knew that I could talk to these composers who were not only wonderful artists but also very generous people, and so that was something that, I don't know, it was clear to me that it could work. Plus, I have to say, I also knew that Lynchburg, people in Lynchburg and people, the opera donors were also generous people and were absolutely interested in this kind of collaboration with young people, local young people who wanted to participate in the arts. I think it was important. Yeah. So the whole thing kind of came together. It was sort of clear. Once the idea was sketched out clearly, it was obvious that it was gonna happen.
Absolutely. And I think we were both, like many organizations in the early stages of the pandemic, were trying to figure out what are we going to do? Like, there are people that we are serving with our mission that need to find a way to make it through this whole thing. So, how are we going to do something that's not desperate, that's not reactive, and that's on mission for us? So, that definitely makes sense. I want to thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you guys for sliding through. I want to shift gears a little bit now and talk to some of the artists that help make this thing happen, right? Just as like how we were talking about, this was a collaborative effort. It wasn't just one person or one organization. Teamwork makes the dream work. So, with that in mind, we have one of our composers who's here with us, Mr. Zach Redler. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, and I apologize for this like creepy dungeon lighting. It's like I don't for some reason in my basement. It's fine in Zoom, but anyway, and so hi, I'm great.
Oh, that's all good. Nice to meet you, sir. And also adding to this thread, Mr. Olivier Delissa. Did I say that last part right? Because I'm not good with the last names, as you guys probably can tell by now. I hope I got it. Nice to meet you guys. I'm meeting you guys for the very, very first time here. I've been more of a fan of this project along the process of it. Rox and Marco have been the ones with their hands on it more than I have. So I'm just like fanboying over here, seeing such awesome fusion take place. So as a fan, what up?
Hey, thank you for all your work.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Now absolutely. So you guys are not in Lynchburg. Where are you guys at?
Zach, go ahead.
Oh, sure. I'm in Connecticut, just outside of New York City.
And I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
BK all day. Oh, sorry, I miss it. I got family all up and down Bed-Stuy, so I'm like, ooh. So we're not in the same place, right? We're localized here in Lynchburg, Virginia, but you guys are further away. We have our own collective experience of going through the pandemic, but I want to hear from you guys. What was going through it like, especially in those early stages? What was it like in your family, in your communities? Let me start with Olivier. What was it like in the early stages of the pandemic for you?
I mean, it was the unknown, it was a very scary moment, especially for artists. And that's when many artists realized, unfortunately, that we're not considered essential workers. And so it was a very scary moment. And that's why taking part in a project such as Life These Days was so important for me and so reassuring to sort of feel like we're doing something useful and crucial to society, especially in a moment like this.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, same. I think when productions or plans for productions or everything just started canceling, rightfully so. It was incredibly scary. We have 2 young kids, and I'm incredibly grateful that my wife has a teaching job that provided like some stability, some salary and benefits. But trying to do all of that with both kids home,
Yeah.
that was another hurdle to try and figure that puzzle out. So strangely enough, I didn't really have time to sit in the like it was our own little mess as opposed to sitting in the larger mess of not and so I think only later did I have to confront that and deal with that of like what is my life going to look like, and so much so that over the summer I ended up like reacting and going back to school for a semester for music therapy, and then realizing while I was in that, no, like I need to take a breath, like no, I love this writing, and I think part of that, the reason why that was delayed is because of this project, because we were able to start like keep some kind of writing and collaboration and creation going. And yeah, and also just really lucky that my wife was right here to record it. Like, so it was a nice
Right. Yeah.
bonus to keep that collaboration going as well.
It's always nice when you can bring people into something you're working on. I know sometimes with my wife, when the listening was getting started, sometimes she bore the brunt of all my bad ideas, of all the awful stuff the listening almost was called. So it's definitely good to have have other people in the process with you. Now I know, well, I shouldn't say I know, but from what I've observed, opera has a lot of moving pieces to it and a lot of amazing moving pieces. What was it like collaborating with wordsmiths, like poets, like because you have wind instruments, you have string instruments, you have all of those things that typically work together in an opera setting. But when it comes to poetry, I've seen it before, but I'm curious how it felt from you guys' perspective. Starting with Zach this time, what was it like collaborating with poets this time?
Oh, it was wonderful. I think, it's interesting. At least in my experience, the people that write the words can be coming as playwrights or coming as lyricists, and then also as poets, as you said. And there's like there could be potentially be a difference between between a poet and a lyricist, because poetry is as you know is such a beautiful art form in and of itself that sometimes isn't always helped by music being added on top of it. It's kind of like putting a hat on a
Yeah,
hat. Um,
yeah.
and so working, at least, um, with my collaborators, it was so wonderful because the language was just very real and every word was necessary, and it wasn't a kind of florid and flourishing poetry. Not that there's anything wrong with
Hmm.
that, but it was so ripe for collaboration, so that you know both of these things coming together make something greater.
Hmm.
And in terms of like instrumentation that you were talking about, luckily, or I don't know, maybe I made it easy on myself, but it was just piano. So like just put in the piano to their words. It was really wonderful.
Absolutely. How about you, Olivier?
For me, it was an amazing experience because I thought, when I first came into this project, and it was my first time collaborating with someone else on lyrics and music. And when I first came in, I thought subconsciously maybe that, since I was the more experienced one and I was the active artist, I would be the one bringing something to this scholar, to this young poet.
Hmm.
And I was trying to see what I could contribute of my experience or whatever I can give. And I was surprised to see that, I mean, I knew this already, but you never stop learning, and I ended up learning
Hmm.
from this young poet, and learning something that will serve me in the future. I kept trying to want to help him with the poem, for example, during the collaboration,
Hmm.
so that the poem could match music that made sense. And then after a while I started thinking, wait a second, why am I trying to make his poetry match my music? Why can't
Mm,
my music
yeah,
not just follow his lead? So once I took the decision to let him take the lead, and I followed where the words took me, and I found that to be an amazing experience. And
yeah,
it made me rethink my my opinion of so many past collaborations, or what I conceived, what I thought of collaborations between my favorite composers and their librettists. So it was just very fascinating, and I learned a lot from Titus.
I'm glad you
And
mentioned
yeah.
the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, as far as the instrumentation, just like Zach said, since it was the confinement and we didn't have access to what we usually would have access to, so we just did whatever we could. In my case, it was not piano; it was electronics, since Titus liked hip hop or old school hip hop. So I tried to make something that in that vibe. And then I don't sing opera, and neither does my wife. So I recruited a dear friend of mine from Senegal, from Dakar. And fortunately, we have the technology now to, to collaborate even at such a great distance. So he just recorded in his house, and that was it. We just, put it together and found a solution.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can say we're international with it now.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys mentioned though the piece about, I guess, the challenge of like wanting to be the influencer in a situation and then stepping back and like letting the young poet's words be what they intended them to be. That was actually, just being transparent, one of our challenges internally, like within the listening. Like we wanted to so much say, this is how you craft a poem, and this is the way you do it, and this is the language, and these are the techniques. And we had to like pause and say, hold on, this is not life these days according to the adults' interpretation of the young people. Like, let them talk. Like that's the whole point. Let them talk. Let them like say what they got to say. So it's really cool to hear you guys' process with that. The last question I have for you guys, when it comes to talking about life these days, and we're talking about 2020 coming into 2021, and we're encompassing everything. We're encompassing the pandemic. We're talking about gun violence and police brutality and voter suppression, the whole gamut of the dumpster fire that has been the past 36 months, right? How do you feel that, or rather, do you feel like young people are able to share their thoughts? And by young people, we're thinking specifically about our teens, those leaving middle school, coming into high school. Do you feel like they're able to communicate their thoughts? We'll start with Olivier this time.
Hmm. I'm not sure um, if I can answer for them.
Hmm.
I mean, through exposure to art and creativity, for me that's a good way to express your thoughts. But in so many communities and so many parts of the country, that's not the case. There's just no outlet for expression
Mm,
for young people. Um,
yeah.
the poverty percentage of the population in this country is so huge. It's like 50% or around there. And just like there are food deserts in this country, there are artistic deserts, and where I think young people don't have any opportunities to even explore. So that's you know that's just an unfortunate part of this society.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that then limits access to who can, like even on something like social media, the poverty limits access, and so you're getting a filtered voice. Probably
Mm,
I don't know percentages, but there's a good deal of the voice that's muffled. On top of the fact that adults tend to not trust children anyway, calling them
yeah.
children even though they're absolutely young adults, and have
Yep.
every right to because they're inheriting this world, so they should have every
Hmm.
right to have a voice and a vote and a say. And so it's obviously a much larger issue. I think that obviously, fortunately, you created this platform, and I hope there are thousands and thousands of them popping up across the country, to help, because it gets a voice out, and it gets a focused. Unfortunate, I don't know. It's layered, but the unfortunate thing is that because kids are automatically looked down upon, or um you know lower socioeconomic income non-white kids, like they're going to already have so much stacked, So like it needs to,
Mhm.
it seems like it needs to be put in a very, you know, for anybody to listen is to put in some kind of a polished package, which is really sad because people should be able to express themselves however they want. But fortunately, this kind of a program is allowing that voice to come out incredibly beautifully and powerfully. Yeah.
Cool, man. It is a lot. And I'm glad that this project exists, to kind of show because and I can only speak from my perspective. I'm being very optimistic in saying this, but I'm believing that because of this project and because of our respective organizations and creativity, that more and more people will see that young voices have every right to be sat at the table and less treated like ornaments, or extensions of their parents. Like I love my kids, and I hope that they see something in me that they like, but they're not me. So being able to have this project give a space for them to reflect, like they're seeing what's going on. They see what's going on, so we can't front and act like they don't. Anyway, I'm about to get on my whole thing, but that's not what we signed up for. But I appreciate you guys. I thank you guys so much for being a part of this project and your time. I hope that we can make something happen. Olivia, I know we were talking about like trying to do something in the fall with the Brooklyn Orchestra and making it happen. So if anybody watching is an amazing donor and wants to get us to New York for the fall, I got to talk with everybody's parents, obviously. But if we could make it happen, Captain, by all means, by all means. But yeah, thanks, guys. Let's make some way here.
Yeah,
no doubt, no doubt. Let's make some way here for, in my opinion, the stars of life these days, right? Let me just say this. So I am on this side of 30, and I've learned that it's up to me if I want to make something happen. I'll just go ahead and do it. Our young people don't have that same access point, So for us to be able to move things out the way and say, listen, this is for you, right? This is your time. This is for your words, and people are actually trying to hear what it is. I am excited to introduce you guys to Savannah Hicks, Marquise Hicks, Phelan Moats, and Titus Big. Yo, welcome to the program, people. What's going on, guys?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, don't act shy. Don't act shy. Come on now.
It's been a minute since I've seen you people.
Nobody.
I know it.
Nobody.
Now, I'm not going to blast y'all, but I know that this chat right now, so y'all watching, y'all can't see on Facebook and YouTube, y'all can't see, but this chat, this private chat we got going on over here, these guys, listen, I miss y'all so much, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but we got a limited amount of time, and I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to say their piece. So let's just dive into it, all right? First up, I want to hear from you guys. The pandemic, right? We left for spring break. We thought everything was sweet. We figured, oh, it's a couple weeks. We'll just stay out a little longer. That was not the case. That was not the case at all. So let me start with Titus and move my way up. What were the early days of the pandemic like for you, sir?
Well, for a second, I thought it was gonna be, nothing really. That was just a hoax until I realized, about around April, it just took off, and it was kind of entertained though, because it was like something new though. Gave me, some new stuff to think about. And I got to talk more with my friends, like more group chats and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
so managed to get more friend time in there.
Yeah, and there are memes about it too, which are pretty funny. So those are pretty much the benefits. There's also the infamous toilet paper crisis, where it was rare to get some toilet paper, stuff like that. That sucked. Just online shopping was just at its peak at that time. now since we got the vaccination, I mean, everything's kind of de-escalating now.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that toilet paper crisis myself. I'm not gonna say how much we got to make off with, but yeah, definitely. Let's pass the mic to Miss Savannah. The early days, how was it? The early days of this whole situation. What was that like for you?
Um, it's honestly hard to describe. When it first started, just like Titus, wouldn't say I thought it was a hoax, but I was like, okay, it's only 4 days. I'll be back at school soon. At first, I was kind of a little happy to not be in school, like, because
Hmm.
what kid likes school, even though I like school.
Right.
Um, and then everything hit, and everyone knew that it was real. And right now, I just want to say I can't remember the last time I watched the news because it got to the
Mm.
point where my mom would turn it on and I'd see it and I would just go straight to my room and start crying because
Mm.
like this is the type of stuff you read in books,
Hmm.
It just it's crazy. Like that's the only way that I can really describe it. It's crazy. It's insane, but this is life now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to cope with, but you just have to do it every day and there's nothing you can do to fix it yet. So I don't want to sound depressing. Like I feel like I'm
No, but I mean it's real. It's real
yeah.
though, and that's what y'all was feeling because I read an article that like in the early days of the pandemic, and it was saying that to be careful before this like global gaslighting where everything starts to resume to normal, so it feels like everything's telling you that it was just a dream in that way. So it's important to remember those feelings. You always hear if you don't remember, you're doomed to repeat it. That whole thing. But let's not get caught up in that. You're totally fine. Faye, let's hear from you, kid. How was it these early days, March 2020 into April? What was that like? Oh, you're muted. Wait, can I unmute you?
I got
I
it.
can't unmute you.
I got it.
There you go. There you go.
I was scared
Mm,
because like of all the possibilities that could have happened that luckily didn't, but like it was just terrifying, especially since there's a lot of problems going on in my household that the virus could have made a lot worse. And I mean, I was happy that there was no school for a while, but it was depressing. It was not fun.
yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely hear that.
But like I started losing a lot of friends. Well, pretty much my family for school, but everybody was just so silent at the time, and they just kind of drifted away, and it was kind of sad because like I'm not very talkative unless I'm around certain people. And it's just scary when it just you completely become silent and there's nobody to talk to, and it's just terrifying.
Yeah. And you guys gave voice to that too, and the stuff you guys created, which was very, very vulnerable. Man, that's so real. Marquise, let me pass it to you, sir. The early days of this pandemic, man, it caught a lot of people by surprise, a lot of mixed feelings and reactions. So unmute yourself real quick and let us know, how was the early stages of this whole pandemic for you?
So I thought it was only going to be a 4-day weekend. So I wasn't too stressed about it. So I thought I can go back to school. But then when I realized that the pandemic was very deadly and serious, I was just like, oh no, because then after like a month, I got tired of like being in the house. But then what the pandemic has taught me also is to love my family more than I did before. I'm not saying like I didn't, but I do more because that's who I am there with. But the good thing about being at home is I don't have as much distractions I would be having if I was at school. But yeah, I can like focus more and get better grades. And yeah.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. It's had so many different kinds of impacts on all of us, and I wasn't joking. Like, the rest of the composers, I'm sure, can say that they're in their field and they've made a name for themselves. So they're no strangers to having the mic in front of them. But being able to place it in front of you guys and allow you the chance to speak on stuff is incredibly valuable. One of the most valuable pieces of this whole pandemic, I think, is not the pandemic, forget the pandemic, but the project, this specific project, Life These Days, is to be able to work with these world-class musicians. They're like miles away, and we had the chance to be able to work with them. I want to hear from you guys, and let's start with you, Marquise. What was it like working with these world-class composers? They're out composing, and I'm just using that word as a placeholder because I know there's more language to it. But these are amazing musicians that you don't just walking down the street. So I'm gonna go down the list one by one, but let's start with Marquise. What was it like working with? I think you guys had Zach, right? Yeah. What was it like working with Zach?
So I thought it was really cool. I didn't know what to expect because I met him for the first time, so I didn't know him. But when I got to know him, he was pretty cool. Definitely a creative and talented guy. But like I said before, I didn't know what to expect. But he seemed very cool and helped me a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And Savannah, you had Zach together too. For those who don't know, Savannah and Marquise are siblings, so they were able to work together with Zach. What was it like working with him?
I wanted to touch on specifically.
Uh-oh, you got muted there.
Sorry. I wanted to touch on from the beginning. He made it very clear that it was a teamwork effort. Like I can't tell you how many times he would tell us, "Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking?" Or asking us what we were thinking first. It was very like collaborative, and I think that I had some fears going into it when I found out who Zach was because he isn't black, and that sounds messed up, but that was my fear
No,
because
that's real.
I didn't know how he would take what we had to say because what we had to say was pretty real, I guess. But he took it so well, and it never felt judgmental. The energy he gave was always really nice, and it seemed like he wanted to be there. It seemed like a conversation. He wasn't just like, "Okay, I'm here for this." Da, 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 da. He was kind, and it was fun, and he was funny. It was a fun experience.
Man, imagine that being nice, such a game changer. What a concept.
I mean, no, I'm not gonna say that. Yeah.
Listen, we'll have a whole other project for that one. Big T, how about you, man? What was it like? Because you had the man himself, the legend, Mr. Olivier. What was that like?
He was a pretty entertaining person to talk to. I mean, he was a pretty chill guy. I mean, I got to watch his YouTube videos. Well, I mean, not really YouTube videos, but like him doing the orchestra, like directing all the instruments and stuff like that. Hearing his work, his opera pieces and stuff like that. My mom introduced it to me. I was pretty impressed by his work, though. Just blew me away.
Wow,
And,
that's
and the
crazy.
funny thing, that man is huge. Like he says like about like 6 foot, like 6 or whatever. Like I didn't know he was that tall.
I gotta say, having a teen say you're pretty chill and pretty cool is such a win. I hope Olivier can hear this or see this, but that feels like a win to me.
I mean, that man's a
Hey,
walking dub
hey,
right there.
I get it. I get it. I hope we can do something with him down the road. How about you, Phelan? You were working with Kamala, and she unfortunately couldn't make it today, but she sends her excitement and complete enthusiasm for this project. What was it like working with her?
I mean, she pretty much put me in control. She was saying how like she didn't want to mingle or mess with anything without my permission or anything like that. And like I was pretty much the leader of this project, so that I guess, I mean, I was really quiet with her, and we didn't really talk much, but she was really nice. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, it's cool. And it's just really nice to hear. I'll let you guys know sometimes as a grown up, we kind of get used to just hustling really hard. And we forget how important it is to just be kind. So on the behalf of all the grown-ups that's on this call and that's in your lives, we're gonna try and do better. I'm gonna try and do better and be kind. If it's a bad day and I haven't had my coffee, I can't make any promises, but it's definitely helpful. It's definitely important to be kinder, especially in a world like this. I have one more question for you guys. And this is the same question. I see that I mixed my questions up, so I apologize for that. But this is a question that I had for the composers. I'm going to ask you guys as well. When it comes to life these days, right, the world that we're living in today, do you guys feel like young people are able to share their thoughts and have them be heard? Let me start with Phelan and then move my way back down. When it comes to life these days, do you feel like young people, teens, do you feel like you're able to share your own thoughts?
I mean, me, I struggle sometimes, but most definitely, like, there's a lot of opinions in the world, and I feel like, well, me being a young adult, I'll say, I usually have a lot in mind, and I just keep it to myself, and I feel like that doesn't help anything. Like, if I actually said what I needed to, things would most definitely get done.
Yeah. Before I switch over, I want to make sure and let all the audience know that the name of this project actually came from your first piece. Like, you were the first one that submitted it, and we said, you know what? That's it. That fits. Let's run with it. So thank you, Phelan Motes, for inspiring the name of this project. Let's pass the mic over to Marquise. Do you feel like when it comes to life these days, teens are able to voice their thoughts and voice their opinions?
I feel like they can, but I feel like you have to be like careful because you don't want to say anything offensive or hurt anybody. But I do feel like you can express yourself well, and I think it's very good for teens because as you grow up, you're gonna need to know how to express yourselves and be real because nobody's gonna take you serious if you don't voice your opinion.
That's a good word, man. It's a good word. How about you, Titus? How do you feel about teens and being able to voice your opinions? Because there's a lot of opinions, like was already said. Do you feel like young people are able to voice those opinions, voice their thoughts?
Oh, they are. When given the opportunity, I mean, social media. I mean, that's a great place to voice your opinion and stuff like that. But the place that really helped me voice my opinion was Freedom School, because I mean, there was just a lot that was going on there. We did like a lot of stuff. Like we learned about like like history, music. I mean, poetry. Just all type of stuff.
And I appreciate that, man. Definitely, it's helpful to have those kind of resources in the community. Savannah, how about you? How do you feel? Do you feel? I shouldn't say how do you, but do you feel like teens are able to voice their thoughts and opinions when it comes to like what's going on in the world today?
Specifically, in my household, yes. My mom is pretty chill, like, and asks for our opinions. But as teens, like as a whole, I feel like there's a big stigma or stereotype when it comes to teens. They're dramatic and their opinions don't really matter because they don't know much about life, don't know when they're older. But that's not really true to me. We have thoughts just like everyone else. And yes, sometimes we might be a little bit dramatic, but everyone's a little bit dramatic and we still deserve to have our voices heard. So as a whole, no. And I feel like that's the problem. But in my household, yes, I think I'm allowed to share my opinions.
Yeah, yeah. It's really great to hear you guys' thoughts and feedback. While this may be the end of this particular project, I hope that, something like this can happen again. But I just want to, before we bow out, want to let everybody know, thank you to the planners, to the composers and musicians, to the poets. Thank you guys so very much. Before we all go, I want to ask everybody one question. And as this question comes up, you all will get a chance to answer it. You should know what this question is, but for those who don't know, we're a nonprofit organization here in Lynchburg, and our mission is to engage, change, and save lives with the performing arts. We start this off with asking one very simple question. So before we go, I'm going to ask everybody this question, so be ready when the screen comes to you. The question is, if you had a room filled with people and they're willing to listen to you, what would you say? Rox, I'm coming to you.
Why you gotta start with me, man? Actually, I know exactly what I would say because I was on my soapbox about it yesterday. I think that there are so many people right now that are complaining about the next generation and don't understand the next generation and are constantly like dogging them every day. And I see it online, I hear it, and from my age and up, people are looking at teenagers and young adults as like, oh, they just want to be on their computers all day, or they're doing TikTok videos or whatever. And there are very few of them that are the next generation. And so my soapbox that I want to tell my room full of people is quit complaining, put in the work, because we are the ones responsible for making sure that the next generation has something to work with. And if we're not doing that, then we have failed them miserably. That's it.
Talk that talk. Talk that talk. All right, passing it to Marco, good sir. If you had a room full of people willing to listen to you, what would you say?
I would remind them that progress is slow, and it's also very hard to feel, right? To get. It's really hard to feel that there is progress, but I think we need to stay positive because it happens, and connections are a major part of progress. And I am optimistic, and I want to remind people that it's an important part of moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate that, sir. Our composers had to leave early tonight. We send them much love. We're going to turn back to, once again, the stars of this whole situation, our young people. I want to hear from you guys. If you guys had a room full of people, starting with Miss Savannah, a room full of people willing to listen to you. It could be your school assembly, it could be at a cookout, but this whole joint of people want to hear from you. What would you say?
people shouldn't have to change themselves to make you feel comfortable in order to make themselves feel validated.
Ooh, ooh, that's a mouthful. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Passing it to Marquise. How about you, sir? What say ye?
I would say life doesn't last forever, so so you should always do the best that you can do, so you can leave your legacy being good and straight, because you don't want to be remembered as mean or disrespectful. So do and have as much fun as you can, because you want to be successful in life, and you want people to remember for who you were.
Definitely. Dang, this is a good room. Oh, like whoever's in this room, they're getting some gems right now. All right, Titus, coming to you, sir. If you had this room full of people, what would you say?
Well, first of all, I would tell them, nothing is given to you in life. You would have to work for it. That, I mean, many people just don't get that concept. Second of all, I would tell them old school rap is better than this new school rap. Like, I literally don't know why.
Ooh,
Uh,
ooh.
Literally, I mean, like, these people, like, in the new hip hop industry, claims that they're the best rapper here, but they never heard about the Wu-Tang Clan, Eric B. and
Oh,
Rakim,
listen. Oh
LL
my
Cool
God.
J, who
Okay.
else? What?
Talk that talk, son. Talk that talk, son.
Well, like, there's so many. I mean, second of all, like, I forgot who said, like, never give up in life, but yeah, never give up in life and stuff like that. Work hard to achieve your goal. I mean, never settle once you, reach that goal. Like, keep on working, you know?
That's man inspirational, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Miss Phelan, on you now. And we're ending with you. How amazing is that? You are our first poem for this project, and now we're ending it with you. So bring us home, madam. This is a room full of people. Don't get nervous. They're here for you. They want to hear from you. This room full of people. What would you say?
No one's perfect, so practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes better.
Ooh, I like it. Nice, succinct, and simple. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of our premiere panel of the Life These Days project fusion. We're going to find a nice word for that. I keep trying to scramble with the right words, but I want to give a salute to everybody who was a participant, who was a planner, who was a part of this project. We couldn't have made it through 2020 without it, honestly. These guys that decided that they wanted to contribute their words, their art. We couldn't have done it without you guys. We look forward to many things to come. Speaking of things to come, Titus let y'all know about our Freedom School 2021. I don't think we even shared it, Rox. Let me see. Is Rox still here? Yes. Yes, she is. Just to steal you for a little bit longer.
I'm here.
uh, we haven't shared like much about Freedom School yet, have we?
Not yet,
Not
because
not Pope.
we still had to wait on all the okays. So
We had
we
to get
were
the green
waiting on
lights and everything.
announcements in order for us
Yeah.
to be able to make announcements.
But yeah, we're back. We missed you guys for 2020. There was a lot going on in 2020, so we got to make up for lost time. So we're hoping that we'll be able to see our scholars again. The dates are June 14th to July 23rd. Should we let them know the theme, or should we like wait on that?
Ooh, that's up to you. That's up.
Don't do. All right, I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it. The theme this summer. We didn't have a theme the first year. The theme the first year was get it done.
We did have a theme the first year. It was the
Oh, it's
carnival.
it was like a carnival. Yeah, yeah. So the theme this year, the drum roll, the cookout, baby, the cookout. We going in, okay? And when I mean going in, that means we are making this as comfortable, as homey, as familiar, and as
Family
lit as we
reunion style.
possibly can. Let's go. We're trying to bring you guys back. We understand that there's still a lot of anxiety. about it. So we're making sure that this is a hybrid program. So we're going to have some kids come in person. We're going to have some virtual stuff. We're still working out a lot of the details. So please do be patient with us. If there are anybody listening that wants to help make this program more successful, then by all means, reach out. Our website
We will
is
never say
welcome to the
no
listening.
to the money.
No, come on now. Nonprofit, hashtag 501c3. Listen, we're trying to have a blast. If you do live locally, we do have our first open mic, our first in-person open mic in over a year. This Friday at the Parks and Recreation Miller Center. The theme is I Love Myself, inspired by the great Kendrick Lamar and many other artists who talk about self-love. We're not just talking about narcissism here. We're talking about self-care. We're talking about
Self-care,
acknowledging the need to treat yourself better, and not just treat
value.
yourself, but right, all of the good stuff. This year has been intense, doesn't let up, but we are excited to do this work for you guys. So, to all the young people, we hope to see you guys for Freedom School 2021. Savannah, Marquise, Phelan, Titus, thank you guys so much for lending your talents to this project. You guys made this thing
Olivier,
look real good.
Kamala, Zach,
Olivier, all of y'all,
Marco,
Marco, and you as well, Rox. Thank you guys so much.
and
For
really
any
all
other
of our
questions,
sponsors. We had a lot of sponsors in this too.
oh,
So
oh.
thank you to everyone who financially made this project possible, because without the money, like, we would not have been able to finish any of it, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would not have been possible. Shout out to Bank of the James. Shout out to WordWorks. Shout out to who else? Oh man, I'm gonna get in
The
trouble for
donors
this
from
too.
Opera on the James.
Yes, the Opera and the James donors, thank y'all so much. Donors from the listening, thank y'all so much. This is what you guys have been supporting, so we appreciate you forever and ever. I think that's it. Donate. I think that's yeah. I just slid that in there real quick. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, yes. Can't forget always the parents. Thank you, Nikisha. The parents for
Thank you for
trusting us.
birthing the talent. We really appreciate it. Thank you for raising your
Yeah.
children to be beautiful people who, oh my gosh, just amazed me in every step of this project. It's happening. Hang on.
Doggone. Are you crying? Oh, is it happening? The tears.
Your kids, to the parents that were involved in this, and to the parents of like our Freedom School scholars, like, your kids are the most amazing people I've ever met. And they inspired this, they carried this. Like, I hope that they got as much of this as we did, because, or as much out of it as we did, because every single time we had a meeting, I would sit back and watch these meetings with them sitting with composers and just like cry. I was so proud of every single one of them. Just Phelan even said, like, I barely talked to her. No, like, even Phelan was really coming out of her shell in this. And it was just the most amazing thing to see our scholars growing, and like the confidence that they had with internationally known composers. Like, as a 12 to 14-year-old, I would have been like shaking in my boots. And they were just so awesome. The kids are making fun of me in the chat right now. Just
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's for the love, and we definitely appreciate the trust of the parents and the community to hold something like this down. We got more up our sleeve. We got more work to do, but we are grateful. We're grateful for this project and for the exposure, definitely as well. Our young people got a lot to say. Our young people have a lot to say, and it's beyond time to start paying attention to them.
and the music. They're if we barely even mentioned, like, there's good music that came out of this. And so if you haven't heard it, or if you haven't seen the music videos, make sure that you're following Life These Days on Facebook so that you can see those music videos that were put out, because all those words were written by these scholars. Like, it is the coolest thing.
Original. All right, kids, I'm gonna go have some milk and cookies. You guys, thank you once again for an amazing night, and I'll see you when I see you.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Love y'all.